In what ways can the use of AI improve the healthcare system? In what spheres can we use it today?
So in AI, and AI is like a tool, so you can use it for many, many, many different things. It's not for necessarily one thing, but examples would be radiology or images, like when you go and you have an X-ray or a CT scan, and the AI system can actually find something that's wrong faster, or highlight it so the doctor can see it immediately, or basically say it's okay. But it can do it much faster, in seconds, compared to minutes or hours or days of a doctor's time, as an example. There are many other examples where imaging is a big one, but imaging across, you can imagine pathology, so cancer, radiology, which would be imaging, dermatology, when you have a lesion, the camera can look at every picture of every mole and tell you if there's a problem or not. So that's one of the big areas that we're seeing. Matching people to clinical trials. So when there's a drug trial and you might be the appropriate match, the machine can find the match faster than the human can. The human can take months of looking through paper. The machine can do it in seconds. So those are two examples, prospectively.
And can an AI help to save money in healthcare?
Yes. So whenever I interview or I talk to people in the field, my first question is how is it being used? And tell me how it's saving money. So if I can, let's say instead of needing 20 radiologists to look at all the things, and the machine is helping me, maybe I only need 5 or 10. So it saves money in the system. Or if I can diagnose you sooner. In other words, my Apple Watch has a way of monitoring my heartbeat. And if it tells me that I'm becoming diabetic because of my heartbeat, then I can take better care of myself or manage myself and not become diabetic. And if I'm not diabetic, I'm not taking drugs, I'm not spending money on pricking my finger. So all that money doesn't get spent. So you can see how it saves a lot of money.
Are there any challenges today connected to implementing AI in the healthcare system?
There are always multiple challenges. It just depends on the application. So if you're creating something that is outside the system, like I said, on the Apple Watch, directly interfacing with the patient, it's easier to implement. If it's radiology or something where it needs to be in the hospital, that one always has more challenges. So something that's closer to the patient may be easier. Something that is more inside the system is harder.
Many people today die of non-communicable diseases. Can an AI help to manage chronic diseases like diabetes and others?
Yeah, we believe that is going to be the biggest area of care, because if the AI system is monitoring your diabetes and helping you stay in line, there's one big hospital system that's doing this in the United States. They were able to drop what's called comorbidities. The diabetes doesn't kill you, but what the diabetes causes kills you. They were able to drop that by 25% in 2 years.
How exactly?
So by just monitoring the patient on a regular basis, and so when their diabetes goes outside of the normal band, the nurse calls them and says, what's going on, how can I help you, blah, 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 and helps them stay in that narrow band, right? So it's a combination of technology and human interaction. And so that they made a lot of money because they were self-insured. So whenever their patient doesn't get sick, they save money. Does that make sense?
Of course it does. Most of us use smartphones, different wearable devices today. Do you think they are evil, as some people say, or do they really help to improve our health and life in general?
So any technology can be used for good or evil, unfortunately, right? So the good part of it is the smartphone can know probably before you do whether you have dementia or Alzheimer's or some of these problems because the data flow. But at the same time, if you don't have the right laws in a country to protect patients, then it can be used against them.
You also work in a venture fund, which is called New Ventures Funds.
Yes.
In what kind of projects do you invest?
So we invest in drug development. So, you know, we're in a cancer drug company, we're in a Parkinson's drug company, but at the same time, we're also looking at investing in companies where data is their asset. So we're invested in companies that can help speed up a process, find a drug faster. We're in companies that help match those clinical trials I was talking about, or that change the whole process completely so that you don't have to practice medicine the same way that you do. So we're looking at many, many different types of companies in that area.
Have you ever invested in any Armenian startup?
I have not yet, but with the change in government and with the way that things have become more predictable and stable, we hope, right, that there are some companies that I'm now looking at that would make sense for us to potentially invest in.